Okay. I'm not sure if some of you were able to remember my previous analysis on Bitcoin dominance. I've mentioned here that I'm expecting back then many were so bullish with the market, and I've mentioned that back then I've mentioned that um, I'm expecting at least three waves up for Bitcoin dominance. Okay, in terms of the higher time frame structure, I'm not yet decided whether it's an ABCDE or a WXY. As of now, I'll just base my counting based on the current price action. So I'll focus on this particular price action here. So um, around September 1, I've mentioned that after the five waves down here, from this top to here, we will see a possible three waves bounce up, and that's actually the ABC up, and then before it will continue to go down. The reason why uh, I have analyzed it like this is simply because in Elliott wave theory, every after five waves up like this one, there will be a correction. To simply explain it, after five waves up, completed five waves up, a correction will happen. And this correction is the current structure of the Bitcoin dominance. We are here going to wave B. And this A to B must be at least composed of three waves up before it will continue to go down. So basically the structure would be like this. For wave A, five waves down. For wave A to B, at least three waves up. Then for wave B to C will be five waves down. And then before it will continue to go up. So this continue to go up probably would be the higher time frame correction of Bitcoin. But as of now, we are moving towards the wave B after a five wave completion. In this case, the reason why I've mentioned, I have mentioned in the chat that I'm expecting three waves up for A to B is simply because of the price action that was given from the top here to this bottom. If we will try to look at it in the lower time frame, we will see clearly a five waves down. Let me change it into 4 hour time frame. As you can see here, we have a clear five waves down. This could be the origin or the wave zero. This could be the wave two, wave three, wave four, and then here we have the wave five. And that's exactly the reason why I've mentioned that the possible bounce up will just be an ABC because the market gave us at least five waves down. And in this particular structure, this can be considered as a zigzag correction, just like what I have illustrated here above. The ABC here is actually a zigzag correction, wherein wave A is composed of five waves down. Wave A to B is composed of uh, three waves up, or sometimes it can be a triangle ABCDE going to wave B here. And then after the wave B, there will be another five waves down. And this is exactly the reason why I've mentioned in the chat just right now that um, ano ba yung binanggit ko kanina? Um, yung mga nandito, make sure na di kayo ubos bago mag-reversal si BTC. Lapit na matapos wave C ni BTC-D, BTC.D or BTC dominance, malapit na magkaalaman kung gagawa pa new all-time high or tutuloy sa correction. And this is exactly the the reason why I've mentioned that, simply because this structure is quite clear in terms of Elliott wave counts. After an ending diagonal here, a throw over is expected, and that throw over is actually the wave A of the correction after 5 waves. So basically, this is the A, the B, and then this will be the C. So once we are done with the ABC up here, then that's the time that we will possibly see a short-term alt season. This could be, if this price action uh, will materialize, then this could be the possible short-term alt season. Now the question here is that, where are we in terms of, Sir Jack, where are we in terms of this wave A to wave B here? So let's proceed to the lower time frame for us to be able to see what is the market is trying to give us. In this particular price action, I would label this as possible wave a leading diagonal wave A to be exact, and then leading diagonal to be exact, and then we're expecting a wave B retracement, and this wave B retracement can be around 50% or the golden zone area. Let's measure it whether the retracement is already in the golden zone area. Let me just fix this first. As of now, we are at around golden zone of the wave B, but this wave B can go as low as 786, 0.786 level, or it can uh, go as low as above the origin of our wave A. But once the origin of wave A will be taken, then I would say the start of the 5 waves down may already happen. But before that will happen, there should be a successful wave 2 here. So this will just be the scenario if ever this wave A price here will be broken. So if that will be broken, expect a bounce, at least 2 waves bounce up, and then it will continue to go down 5 waves down, and that could be the the possible uh, short-term alt season. At least we will complete the 5 waves down. But if ever this particular level or the wave A level will be respected, then the original structure that I have mentioned, which is an ABC up, will possibly will possibly be the scenario, and then this scenario will only be invalidated once we break the high of the Bitcoin dominance, which is around 65.99. Ideally, the wave C of B here is just before the high of the Bitcoin dominance. So with that in mind, since I am expecting, based on the Bitcoin dominance, I'm still expecting a continuation. Probably it will retest this 0.786 level. Then after that, it will go up. And we all know the relationship between the altcoins, the BTC's price movement, and the Bitcoin dominance. if the Bitcoin dominance pump, if the Bitcoin dominance will increase and the Bitcoin price will drop, then expect a dump in the altcoins. So with that in mind, so with that in mind, since I'm still expecting that the price will continue to go up here, this could be the last wave, or this could be the shakeout before the possible reversal. So please save your port, because once this particular price action will happen, expect that I will be doing probably a series of live trade or live analysis, so that you will be guided at least uh, uh, using the directional bias of Elliott wave theory. Now, if I'm expecting a continuation until 0.786 and then another bounce up, then that means I am expecting in the Bitcoin a a continuation of the bounce up, since I'm expecting a continuation to 0.786 as the Bitcoin dominance decreases, and the price of Bitcoin increases, and therefore the altcoins will have we will see significant gains from or pumps from the altcoins. However, in terms of the Elliott wave theory of Bitcoin, based on what I have shared in the chat here, I'm ex this wave 2 up was already expected. The price back then was around here, and then I mentioned that the price would be the market will complete the wave 2 retracement here, but ideally the wave 2 price here should not go beyond the territory of the flood, because in Elliott wave theory, this flood is actually the invalidation of what we call the impulsive scenario. So to illustrate, let's say I have here wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. Now, the reason why I've mentioned that I'm expecting ideally the bound should be above or below the wave 1 territory, simply because in Elliott wave theory, the invalidation of an impulsive scenario would be when wave 4 retreat or overlaps the territory of wave 1. And the territory of wave 1 here is my flood or bearish first line of defense. And that is actually the bearish first line of defense here. So for in an impulsive scenario, the invalidation would be the bearish first line of defense. But once we hit the bearish first line of defense or the flood, then the bearish scenario is still valid as long as it will not break the origin of the wave 2. Because once we break this, this will no longer be considered as an 5 waves down. Instead, it will just be labeled as ABC and probably another ABC. So therefore, ideal would be the wave 2. The wave 2 here should not break the territory, or the yes, the wave 2 here should not break the territory of this wave 1 here for an impulsive scenario, because from here to here, let me just show you the the line. From here, encircled wave 2 to encircled wave 3, the wave 3 ideally should not go beyond the territory of the wave 1 price. And the wave 1 price is here, so therefore the ideal scenario would be uh, it should not break this one. But just like what I've mentioned, it's still acceptable as long as it will not break the bearish scalp last line of defense. I think I accidentally labeled this the other way around. Let me just correct it. So this will be the ideal scenario. The wave 2 price here should not break the flood. But again, the invalidation of the bearish scenario would will only happen once we break the last line of defense, and that last line of defense would be at 112,000 0.3327. So that's the situation now of the Bitcoin in terms of Elliott wave counts. So if ever we break this bearish first line of defense, then my last five waves down here will be changed an from an impulsive scenario like this one into a diagonal scenario. What's the difference between an impulsive scenario and a diagonal scenario? So allow me to clone this for me to illustrate it uh, carefully. So this in Elliott wave theory, this one is called impulsive, impulsive motive wave, meaning impulsive motive wave, wave 4 should not go beyond the territory of the wave 1. But if the wave 4 goes beyond or overlaps the territory of wave 1, we call this as diagonal. Diagonal motive wave. So these are the two types of motive wave, either impulsive motive wave or diagonal motive wave. The only difference between these two is that the retracement of wave 4. If the retracement of wave 4 will not overlap the territory of wave 1, impulsive. If the wave 4 overlaps the territory of wave 1 but did not break the territory of the origin of wave 2, then we call it as diagonal. As of now, I am a logical trader and a logical Elliottician. The ideal scenario for me would be not breaking the territory of the wave 1. So this is what I'm expecting it first. Once we break the flood or the first line of defense, that's the only time that I will consider a diagonal motive wave. And if ever it becomes a diagonal motive wave, my conviction of a possible reversal will be become higher. Why? In Elliott wave theory, diagonal motive wave happens only before a reversal. Okay, let me explain why I said that. In Elliott wave theory, a diagonal motive wave can only happen either in wave 1 as a leading diagonal or wave 5 as an ending diagonal. So when I say leading diagonal, I am referring to this one. Wave 4 that traces behind the territory of wave 1. So this is an example, sorry. This is an example of a leading diagonal. Again, why it's called leading diagonal? Simply because wave the wave 1, the internal waves of wave 1 is a diagonal motive wave, wherein wave 1 or wave 4 retraces beyond the territory of wave 1. So this is what we call leading diagonal. However, if the diagonal happens at the last wave, which is the fifth wave here, if the diagonal happens here, then we call it as ending diagonal. So this one is leading diagonal. If the diagonal happens at the start of the trend or of the wave, we call it as leading, from the word itself, leading diagonal, or the start of the wave. And then if the diagonal happens at the last wave here, for example, then we call it as ending diagonal. So why did I say that my conviction of a possible reversal will become high once we get a diagonal motive wave? Simply because ending diagonal and leading diagonal will only happen either at the beginning of the trend and the before the end will be before the wave will be terminated. Meaning after an ending diagonal, there will be a reversal. Because from the word itself, ending, that means the last part of the trend. So once this happen, then my conviction of a possible reversal will become high. Take note that diagonal can only happen in either wave 1 or wave 5. Wave 1 as leading diagonal, wave 5 as ending diagonal. But ending diagonal, or rather, diagonal can never happen, should never happen, or will never happen in the internal waves of the wave 3. So if ever you are trying to count, you're trying to become an electrician, and while you were counting, you've noticed that the wave 4 retraces beyond the territory of wave 1, like this one. And in your higher degree count, you were expecting that this will be the wave 3. If this price action happens when wave 4 retraces beyond the territory of wave 1, then do not label this as wave 3. Instead, label it as a nested 1, 2. That's why in some of my counts here, instead of labeling it as wave 3, I labeled it as nested 1, 2. When I say nested 1, 2, uh, originally I have the first 1, 2 waves here. Instead of labeling this as wave 3, I label this as wave 1. This will be my wave 2, and then wave 3 will only be confirmed once we get a non-diagonal wave 3. So this will be the alternative scenario if ever there's a failure to become impulsive for the wave 3. So that's the exact reason why you will see some of my analysis wherein wave waves 1 and 2 are seems like repeated. In Elliott wave theory, we call it as a nested 1, 2. So with that in mind, where are we now in terms of Elliott wave theory of the Bitcoin? This drop was expected, but this will only be confirmed once we have completed the 5 internal waves. But actually, as of now, I can see that this could be a possible ending diagonal. To explain further, allow me to hide these countings. Allow me to hide these countings and let me focus here from here going down. Because we are on the last wave, so therefore I I should carefully check the internal waves of this price action from here to here, whether the market gave us already the 5 waves down, or we have completed the 5 waves down already or not. Because just like in my previous shared analysis here, I don't know if some of you were here when I mentioned it. This this type of candle is a wick low, and I've mentioned that this type of wick or this type of low or wick low is bound to be revisited, and that's exactly what happened in the market. Since this is a wick low, it was revisited, it was tested, and then we got a significant reaction from this low. So in AMD or classic AMD, this could be the sweep or possibly the manipulation, possible manipulation before a distribution. But Allow me now to check the internal waves from here to here if we have completed the 5 waves already. Uh, Let me just be very careful with my counting. I'd like to check whether this is the origin or this is the origin. In this case, the origin would be at this particular price, so therefore this will be my wave 1. Wave 1, this could be my wave 2, this could be my wave 3, this could be my wave 4, and this could be my wave 5. Hmm. Okay, let me just check the internal waves if these internal waves are valid and the internal waves are completed. First, cardinal rule of Elliott wave theory. I've mentioned this already. The word cardinal rule in Elliott wave theory is actually the rule for impulsive motive wave, because in the first book of Ralph uh, Elliott, the one who the proponent of this Elliott wave theory, is that the first term that he used for impulsive motive wave is actually cardinal. That's why they call it as three cardinal rules of Elliott wave theory. And what are those three cardinal rules of Elliott wave theory? The first rule is that wave 2 should not retrace beyond the origin of the wave 0. So in this case, this will only be considered as a successful wave 2 if the wave 2 did not break the origin of wave 0. So since this is the origin of our wave 0, the wave 2 retraces. Let me check what level is this. Perhaps this level is around 99. Let me just check. 0.99. Sorry. 0.99. Not 0.99, but probably 95. Around 0.95 or between 0.95 to 0.99. So therefore, in Elliott wave theory, the retracement of wave 2 can go as low as 99.99% as long as wave 2 will not break the territory of the origin. So again, that's the first cardinal rule of Elliott wave theory. Wave 2 should not go beyond the territory or the origin of wave 1. And then the second cardinal rule of Elliott wave theory is that wave 3 must not be the shortest. So all you have to do is use the price range measurement or tool and then measure the wave 3. The wave 3 here is 5.15%, and the possible wave 1 here is 1.97 as in terms of length. So therefore, the first cardinal rule, which is wave 2 should not go beyond the territory of the wave 1 or the origin of wave 1, is satisfied, as well as the second cardinal rule of Elliott wave theory, which is the wave 3 should not be the shortest. Here, the third cardinal rule, there are three cardinal rules. The third cardinal rule of Elliott wave theory is that wave 4 should not go beyond the territory of wave 1. So in this case, if we will try to check it very carefully, then wave 4 here did not break the price territory of wave 1, which will give us this type of counting as a valid 5 waves down. So there's a possibility that this could be the reversal already. But of course, you have to make sure that the wave 4 to 5 has completed its internal waves. So allow me to change this By the way, before I will continue counting wave 4 to wave 5 here, allow me to check first whether wave 1 is for a diagonal wave or not. Uh, as I mentioned a while ago, a diagonal structure can be of two types. I'm not referring to the leading or ending diagonal. I'm referring to the wave counting. In Elliott wave theory, a diagonal can be counted uh, in two ways. One is like this. Oops, sorry. Let me delete this first. Okay, so there are two types of wave counting for a diagonal. So allow me to illustrate it here so that you will be guided. First is the 535 structure. So when I say 535 structure, I am referring to this type of structure. 53535. Sorry, 5. 535 53535 structure, and the other one is a 3333, three sets of three structure. So the difference between this is that in the 53535 diagonal structure, the internal waves of the wave 1 here, allow me to change this into this one. In the 535 structure, the internal waves would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Um, the 5 waves down, that's why it's called 53535. 5 waves down for wave 1, and then 3 waves up for wave 2, and then another 5. The third counting here is 5 waves down for wave 3, and then another 3 for the wave 4, 3 waves up for wave 4, and then another 5 waves down for wave 5. So that's the exact reason why this is called a diagonal, wherein the wave counting structure is 53535. Wave 4 retraces beyond the territory of the wave 1, and the internal wave countings will be 53535. Here in the other type of diagonal motive wave, the internal wave is different. It is counted using 5 sets of ABCs. So in this case, this will be A, B, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, then A, B, C, and another A, B, and C. So this is the difference between a 53535 structure diagonal and a 3333 structure. Basically, basically the difference between the two is the internal wave counting. Now, let me check the internal waves of the wave 1 before I will decide whether I will use 53535 structure or 3333 structure. So let me check this price action here, this as my the origin of wave 1, and let me change it into lower time frame so that I can check the internal waves carefully. Oops, sorry. So if I will label this as my wave 1, then therefore I should have 5 internal waves down. That's the reason why I changed from higher time frame to lower time frame. This could be the wave 1, this could be the wave 2, wave 3, 4, and then 5. If we will try to look at this is an example of a leading diagonal because wave 4 retraces beyond the territory of wave 1 but did not break the territory of wave 2. So therefore, this is acceptable as wave 1. If wave 1 here is composed of 5 waves down, then we will no longer consider this type of wave counting. Perhaps in the higher degree or the degree after the internal waves that I'm trying to count now. But as of now, I'll choose 5-3-5-3-5 structure simply because the internal waves of wave 1 were completed as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is wave 2, and obviously we must have 5 waves down here. So we have here wave 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So therefore we also have the 5 waves down. This is already satisfied. Now 4 to 5. This is the last wave down, and I would like to check whether this last wave down will be is already completed or not. So this will be the invalidation of my uh, bearish scenario going to the fifth wave. Since the price action is already happening, then therefore let me just check the internal waves of these 4 if it is already completed. So this could be the wave 1 since this did not break the territory of the origin of wave 0, so therefore this could be labeled as wave 2, this could be wave 3, this could be wave 4, and this could be wave 5. So therefore this is just the first wave, this one, the first wave only, from wave 0 to wave 1, and that's the price action for the first wave. So allow me to label it using a different degree count so that you will be guided. So if this is wave 1, this will be the wave 2. Just like what I mentioned a while ago, the internal waves of the wave 3 must not be diagonal. I repeat, the internal waves of wave 3 must not be diagonal. So therefore, these 2 to 3 must complete the 5 internal waves. So we have here the wave 1, 2 internal waves of the wave 3, wave 3, wave 4, wave 4, and then we have here the wave 5. Since the internal wave satisfies the condition for it to be considered as impulsive movement, then therefore I'll consider this as my wave 3. But this wave 3 will only be invalidated or will be relabeled once we break the high of or the price territory of wave 1, which is at this particular price. And that's exactly the reason why I labeled this as my bullish first line of defense and last line of defense. Bearish, I mean, sorry. Bearish first line of defense and last line of defense. Why? Because we have completed successfully the internal waves of an impulsive wave 3. However, Sir Jack, if we break the territory of the wave 4, will that be acceptable? Just like what I've mentioned, then I will consider this as ending. If wave 4 breaks the territory of the flood here, just like what I've mentioned, my conviction of a possible reversal after the internal waves of this swift wave uh, is completed will be high for a possible reversal or a short-term alt season. However, if ever it will just respect the bearish first line of defense here and continue to go down, then uh, my conviction will be a little bit lower, not because simply because if it is a diagonal can only happen just like what I've mentioned either as a leading diagonal or an ending diagonal. If it is an ending diagonal, then therefore reversal will most likely happen if it is an ending diagonal. But if the market retraces before breaking the bearish first line of defense here, then therefore um, we will just wait for the completion of these 5 waves down. Now, with that in mind, you now have the directional bias in terms of Elliott wave theory, and you, not not only that you know the directional bias, but I've already explained the reason why the my point of interest would be at this particular price, the flood price and the load price. The flood price would be the invalidation of an impulsive wave 3, while the load price will be the last line of defense for the bearish scenario. So perhaps the we may see the reversal, or we may see the decision within this week. If we break this, ending diagonal. If we respect this, a regular ABC correction. Once we complete the 5 waves down, last 5 waves down, we will see a possible reversal. And for you to be able to understand why a possible reversal, I've already explained the video about this even before the dump happened. Others probably consider the dump as purely fundamentals, but uh, it's not just purely fundamental. Uh, in terms of Elliott wave theory, I was able to project that it may happen once the floods and loads of my analysis will be taken. To give you an idea of the higher time frame counts for the Bitcoin, let me just a screen recording of a quick market analysis done in Poring community. Okay, so let me just go to this part wherein I explained the possible correction. The uh, possible structure of Elliott, the possible Elliott wave structure of Bitcoin is an expanded flat. The expanded flat will only happen once the wave B sweeps the high of the fifth wave here, and then the counting becomes 3, 3, 5, meaning 3 waves down, and then 3 waves down. First wave down is 3 waves, then bounce of 3 waves up, and then the last wave will be the fifth wave. And as early as I can't remember the exact date for this one. Uh, when did I upload this? Let me just check. I uploaded this 9 days ago before the dump happened. And then I mentioned here that Bitcoin, we have completed the fifth wave already. 3 waves down, one, two, three. 3 waves up for the expanded flat scenario. And then let's see what happened after. Let me just um, zoom it. As early as 9 days ago or 10 days ago, I was expecting already a 5 bips down. And if we will try to look at the market right now, the one that I have mentioned for the expanded flat already happened, and the price back then it was around 120. People or were so bullish during that time because the BTC created a new all-time high at 126,219.03 using the index as my as the basis of my chart. And then after that, as early as 10 days ago, I was expecting an expanded flat scenario wherein five waves down will happen. And let's see if this five wave down projection did happen. As you can see, this is the first wave, the second wave, this is the third wave, and what we are trying to project right now is the last wave of this particular scenario. This could just be the smaller wave 1 only, but I will only consider it as this here to here as smaller wave 1, or rather wave 1 only. I will only consider it as a wave 1 once we see the price test or will try to test the new all-time high price, because if we will base it on the Elliott wave counts, we have seen a clear five waves down already. This is the wave 1, this is the wave 1, the wave 2, 3, 3, and this is the wave 4, and this is what I'm trying to project, the fifth wave. So once we complete the internal waves of this fifth wave, then we will see uh, whether this one or this five waves down is just the first wave of a possible higher time frame correction, or it it's the reversal for a new all-time high price. If you will check some of my videos here, although I do not promote this, imagine my subscribers just 222 until now. But if you will try to check the my analysis of Bitcoin here, my target for the last wave would be around 129 to 124. And as of now, my analysis months ago or or a, almost a year ago is still valid until now. But of course, we are on the last part of this uptrend bullish scenario, and we will I can only confirm it once price the actual price action will happen. So that's my analysis for the Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin price. If ever you have any question, feel free to ask the question now before I will close or before I will stop the streaming.